This is the Watch Geek Time podcast.
Hey everybody, Scott with Watch Geek Time, Tim with Independent in Time, independentintime.com.
Scott, it's good to be back.
It's always good to be back. You ready for another one?
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
As we start off, we always start off with what we're wearing. I'll go first today.
Sure.
Okay. I'm wearing my pre-Campanola Citizen repeater. I'll put it over here in front of the camera here. It's a lot of fun, this watch.
That is an Eco Drive.
It's an
Eco Drive.
It's
right?
an Eco Drive.
What is an Eco Drive?
An Eco Drive, it's based on the sun. It uses the sun. And what I have to do, because I don't wear these things outside in the sun a lot, is I have a special light that they sit on.
Right, and if correct me if I'm wrong, but this area, the white area in the inside of the dial, that's where the sunlight and UV is received into the movement
Correct.
To charge the battery.
Correct.
Yeah.
And most of the
very
time,
clever system.
And most of the time, it sits on top of a very bright light
Yep.
to charge it up. And this one's actually a repeater. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. I'll put my mic on it. It sounded like 425 to me.
Yeah.
So,
426 or something.
somewhere in
Yeah.
there. A lot of people who have had a repeater know that in typical repeater fashion, it'll chime a single time for each hour, followed by a double chime for the quarters, followed by the number of minutes. So
Within that quarter.
within that quarter, very
Right.
good. Unless it's a decimal repeater, and then it's on the tens, and then it's. But obviously at 11:59, this thing's chiming a lot, and you have a lot to keep track of. Just as a matter of history, minute repeaters were actually created for guys working in the mine. And what that means is it was too dark to figure out what time it was, so they had a little hammer that would bang on the bottom of the case. You'd slide a lever back, and that would charge up the spring for the repeater, and then the hammer would bang the bottom of the watch. And I think people that had sight problems enjoyed this too. And of course, before we just had a little light switch or an illuminated watch or clock.
Love to hear where that story comes from.
Well,
Line?
Well, that's what I was told. Like Patek Philippe
That sounds like
created.
bullshit.
Oh well, then okay. That's what I was.
Okay, let's just realistically.
You go ahead. You tell us where it really came
No,
from.
I don't. I'm not saying that I know exactly, but the reality of a mine worker needing that small.
No, not the miner. The foreman.
Yeah.
The superintendent.
Still, I think that's. My understanding is that, because these were expensive, they are still very expensive watches, if not some of the most expensive watches today.
But it was a tool watch when it first came out. I'm going to find that for the next show. I'm going to show it to you because this is just something I happen to know.
Okay.
There was a hammer that would bang the bottom of the case.
Yeah.
Tell the guy who was in charge of all the miners.
The timing, the hours, probably. Yeah.
Probably just bang
So
the
it probably
hours.
wasn't a minute repeater. It might have been an hour repeater.
It was, it probably just a and you really had to feel it bang the bottom of the case.
Yeah. But clearly before we had electric light, yeah.
Definitely, and as the trick about doing a repeater in a small case, repeaters were originally encased in larger pocket watches,
sure.
and there was plenty of room for that rack turning around and the gong coming around.
Yeah,
So,
outside.
but let's talk more about that when we actually have a real minute repeater.
Right.
Besides
Mechanical.
my. All right. So what do you got on here today?
Well, inspired after the last week, I'm actually wearing the Ulysse Nardin Blue Surf.
Oh, from last show.
Yeah, Maxi Marine Diver. I rather like this watch. I haven't worn it recently, so I got inspired to wear it. It's on a NATO, so let me just remove this and get it closer up. But yeah, we talked about it fairly extensively last week, but that's it again.
Oh, is this just your wearer today?
Yeah, daily. Yeah, just on a fun NATO.
Your surfer watch.
Well, yes.
You know,
I actually have a Seiko Turtle dive watch for that.
I've seen it.
Yeah. So I like the red in this strap. Goes, pulls in with the power reserve and the 1846 down on the seconds. So fun piece.
Killer.
Yeah, love it.
And just because we've decided that we've talked about chronometers, yeah, I just want to.
There it is.
So talk about a chronometer just for a sec so that the audience knows what we're dealing with.
Yeah, so I actually took this photograph the other day, and what we have behind me is obviously the wristwatch, which is called a Maxi Marine Diver. But the architecture of it, the dial setup is designed like a marine chronometer. And what is a marine chronometer? So if you zoom out a bit, Scott, what's cool is so that clock. It's a clock that sits in a gimbaled case, and you can't really see it from this picture, but the clock is gimbaled, so it as a ship tilts, the clock remains flat, and it's got a seconds down at 6 o'clock. It's a running seconds, and it has a chronometer escapement, which again, that's technical. We can go into that at a different date, but it's a highly precise clock for navigation, specifically to ships. And then up at 12, you have your power reserve. And if you look at the watch, my watch has a power reserve with a red hand. And versus on the clock, it's a power reserve. Now, my watch is automatic. The Hamilton 1941 Marine chronometer, which is what this is, which I own, is manual wind. So you have to wind it typically the same time each day. It has about 48, 49 hours of power reserve. And because it was used for navigation, you did not ever want this thing to run down. Mm-mm. So you had to have a power reserve. So marine chronometers always have power reserves. Most of them have it at 12. I have seen them where the power reserve's at 6 and the sub-second is actually up at 12. That's pretty rare. But this was a standard issue for the U.S. Navy. This particular clock was made in 1949, so just after World War II. And it didn't see service during World War II. But in 1941, the Navy put out a tender to American watch companies to basically reverse engineer or to design a marine chronometer for the Navy, because prior to 1941, most of the marine chronometers that were supplied to the U.S. Navy came from Ulysse Nardin, which is who made that watch in that picture, the one I'm wearing today.
And
Ulysse Nardin, being Swiss, they were surrounded by the Axis countries, so Germany and Italy. So they couldn't export enough of these marine chronometers. And this was long before we had satellite navigation. And so timing
That's an important point. GPS has essentially supplanted the marine chronometer, although for maritime fun, most ships still have their marine chronometer, especially if the GPS fails.
Yeah, well,
Which doesn't usually happen.
No, and you've got satellites now, so everything's all to all the various different satellites, and it's actually more accurate. But the issue was longitude. And again, we can go into that. There's been some fabulous books written about it. Longitude is figuring out how far you are going east and west. Latitude, we figured
Latitude's easy.
Easier, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, all the latitude lines are the same.
Yeah.
It's longitude that's a problem.
As you're going east-west, right? Yeah. And when you're navigating on a ship, you really need to know where you're at going east and west. And the only way to do that is have a really precise timekeeper. And that's what these are. So these clocks they were designed to be accurate to within half a second a day.
This one has a Fusi chain, like a lot of them.
They all do.
They all have a direct drive system in them.
Well, it's a chronometer escapement, which is the escapement of a mechanical watch is the part that releases the power from the spring, and typically a lever escapement, which is what most mechanical watches have, goes backwards and forwards and releases tick tick tick. The chronometer escapement is a different mechanism. It's a detent escapement, and it's more precise. It's easier to get it be really highly precise. Mm-hmm. However, for a wristwatch, it's not that practical because it's very fragile, and it also typically doesn't start itself. You have to give it a good shake.
Yeah.
So this clock, when you wind it, if it runs out, my clock, you don't hit it. You actually just you wind it and you turn the clock and grab the clock and turn it sideways a couple. So what that does, that motion in the horizontal plane, gets the balance wheel to go backwards and forwards, and then it starts and runs beautifully.
Next time I'll see about my Polyot that I have.
The Russian one.
That our good buddy David Walter was the only one who could figure out how to fix.
Yeah. I mean, I probably could bring this. I just need to, put it in its box. And there's actually a setting for traveling with these things where you actually you have to, on the back, you have to the little screwdriver, little hex screwdriver, and there's a little brake that pushes up against the balance. It's got a cylindrical hairspring as well, which is really cool. So it stops the balance, and that way you don't break the balance stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when it was shipped to me, they had a little piece of tissue paper underneath it to keep the... Yeah.
So the very first ones of this clock had that similar system. So you actually had a piece of cork that you shoved in there carefully. And then they developed, because they were breaking too many balance stuffs, they developed a mechanism where you have a little hex screw, and it pushes, and it's rubberized, a little brake system against the balance wheel to stop the balance wheel.
It's interesting for a clock that its necessity is to be super robust and free of issues. It sure is fragile, which is why they never really left the ship.
Yeah, you had to have 3 on the ship. So yeah, very cool. I love having that, and the sound is fantastic.
Oh, it sounds like a bomb going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really quite fantastic.
Different from a wristwatch. Wristwatch has the tick tock. This is a tick tick tick, and it's twice a second. So you can really see the second hand.
So it is actually almost like a single hertz, because it does go.
Yeah.
But I think they run at about. I'm thinking they run at 2.5 hertz. A lot of them, or at least 18.
No, it's much slower than 18. It's
14.
It's 2 beats per second.
14.4.
Yes, something like that. Yeah. It may even be slower than that.
2 hertz.
Yeah.
Single hertz is 7,200 vibrations per hour. So 2 hertz, 14.4.
Yeah.
4. Okay. Cool.
So what do we got here?
So let's talk about this guy. This is a Martin Braun movement, uncased.
Yeah.
So this is a movement that Martin developed. Most of Martin's stuff is based on this movement, but then he modularizes it. So this is from the EOS, which is his. I'm sorry, not the EOS, the Celine.
Yep.
This is from the Celine. So if you turn this around, you'll see he developed his own moon phase system. So unlike, I call this the Mickey Mouse look, unlike a lot of moon phase watches where they have sort of a cartoonish moon that's moving in and out of an aperture, Martin actually developed a photorealistic moon, and this is what casts the shadow as it comes around, and
behind the photorealistic.
Behind the photorealistic, exactly. And if you're looking up around the top right there, as you pointed out, Tim, that's the pusher,
right,
to adjust the that little guy there,
that little lever there. Yeah,
he butts up against the quick set for the
moon phase.
For the moon
Very
phase,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah, so this was Martin's his conceived movement called the MAB 88. And this doesn't have the rotor on it. It's an automatic movement, but the rotor's been removed, so you could see the whole movement. It probably can twist it with a balance.
It'll run.
Yeah, there's a balance.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
It doesn't run for very long.
No, it's kind of cool to see this. I haven't seen one of these. I mean, I've seen them in the watch with the rotor, but it's kind of nice to see.
But it's got the perlage decorating, and it's got the Geneva striping, so it does follow the Geneva trends of watch decoration. Very accurate movement.
Yeah.
Especially since there's so much going on. Again, you can almost see that the modules get stacked.
Right. Very clearly right there. So the movement is the smaller part, and then the big moon phase is much bigger than the actual movement, the diameter of it. But I think that watch was 43 mil in reality.
Originally, yeah,
Probably.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I guess what I'll do is
yeah, that's cool.
I'll bring the Celine out in another show. We'll talk a little more about it.
Yeah, Martin Braun's. He's one of those early watchmakers I started working with a good 20 years ago.
Listen, thank you, because it's why he and I are so close. I got to meet him at one of your events.
That's right.
And you said to me, listen, you got some questions for this guy. You might want to show up a little early. And I remember, because I was giving him a hard time about it the other day, he thought I was a spy, because I was very curious. Hey, how do watchmakers decide what hertz to run the watch at?
Right.
And he looked at me and said, why are you asking me this? And I said, well, every watch I have seems to run at 4 hertz, which is 28,800 vibrations per hour. And he said, well, there's a balance between the power reserve and the accuracy and the size of the balance wheel and all this stuff that the watchmaker has to work out. And I said, okay, I get that. And I get at 28.8, we got a lot of inertia, and it's hard to put the watch off its speed. And at 28.8, the balance wheel is going back so fast, back and forth, that it's hard for it to lose its inertia. But if you slow down to a pocket watch,
18,000,
right? 2.5 hertz.
Yep.
And you've got gravity pulling on the spring, and that's what led to tourbillon and all this other stuff. But I said to Martin, how come no watchmaker has ever made a 1 hertz watch? And he just looked at me like he was going to shoot me in the face. And he said, I'm done with your questions. And he walked away from me. And of course, 6 months later,
he produced
a 1 hertz watch called the Slow Runner.
Yeah,
which you and I have seen, luckily.
I've actually sold. I'm probably the only person on the planet that sold one.
There you go.
And it resides in an incredible watch collection up in San Francisco.
It is a marvel of a watch. It truly runs at 1 hertz, and the balance wheel takes up the whole backside. We'll talk. You know what? We'll save it for next show. We'll bring up some video.
I got some pictures of it.
You got some pictures. You got some video.
Yeah.
I've got some video. I mean, you can literally see the balance wheel go chink, chink,
it's really cool.
and the second hand goes. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And it was, he decided that people were driving too fast and the world was going too fast and there was too much email and too much social media and everything was making him crazy. So I'm going to slow it down, which makes no sense if you know Martin. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some watches you might have for sale.
Sure.
Okay.
So this one, we'll go with Speake-Marin.
Okay.
I may have shown this a couple of weeks ago.
You may have, but let's show it again.
This is, so, I'm not going to go into the whole story of why I fell in love with Speake-Marin, but essentially it's Roman numerals. But what's interesting about this one is it's fairly unusual. This one has Arabics. And, but what I love about it is the enamel dial. It's a beautiful fired or Grand Fou enamel dial. And those hands are blued steel. And
which is a little hard to see. Can you turn it a little bit to catch some light on there?
To get the blue?
Yeah, see if you can just tip it back. There you go. You can see you had it. There it is.
Yeah, you got to get the reflective
little glare, but you can see, look at the bluing on that. And this is what's amazing about watchmaking, friends, is that the watch takes on different hues and colors depending on how the sun or the light hits it.
Right.
This watch is fantastic. The dial is enamel.
Yeah, Grand Fou, and it's it's a beautiful, elegant watch. 18 karat rose gold. I sold the watch brand new. Ended up buying it back from the collector. He's one of the early adopters of Speake-Marin. I would think he's probably owned about 5 or 6 of the Speake-Marin watches. He was also part of the 1 in 20 series. Which was where Peter essentially developed his own movement from scratch. And in order to afford that, he did a subscription series of 20 watches. So,
will you talk about what subscription means? Because it's not that's not what people think. It's not like you're subscribing to get yourself a book or anything. So
it was begun by Breguet, and it was a way for people to afford, relatively speaking, a high-end watch. So essentially, the collectors or the buyers would put up money up front. So the development costs of the watches were sort of partially prepaid by the client, and that allowed somebody like Breguet back then to not have to spend his money or much of his money in the R&D, and it allowed from a cash flow standpoint for the business to run a little bit more efficiently. Because prior to that, your clients were more akin to like in the art world where you have a patron who loves your art, decides they want to sort of support an artist, and they'll just they'll buy essentially every piece he has, and that's being a patron where you whereas this was, and being a patron typically you gotta have some coin to do that. This is but this allowed for people without the funds also to come up with a big amount of money in one go is tough on the cash flow for some people. So the subscription or subscription concept allowed people to break up payments.
So it was almost a layaway, but you got the watch.
Yeah, but it gave Breguet, in his case, a cash flow to continue running the business and developing.
Let's see the back of this as I'm talking about this, because it's really interesting to me, the whole idea. Breguet, watchmaker to the king, right? Horology de roi, right? He was Louis the 16th's guy.
Yep, my history's not great. So,
but I happen to know Marie Antoinette.
Yeah.
Bought a lot of stuff from him.
Yep.
And then he became the watchmaker to the king. I'm going to maybe mess this up, but this was right around the French Revolution, the beginning of it.
Yes.
And because he was so tied in with the aristocracy, he was a target all of a sudden.
He had to keep his head down.
Keep your head down. And there's like the Montagnards or some. I mean, there's a whole thing floating around with the Jean. What's his name? God. Not Jean-Luc Picard, because he was the captain of the Enterprise.
Where are you going?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of the guy's name. The guy who was sort of the architect of the French Revolution was.
My history is not good.
In
England, we did not.
I'm drawing a blank for some reason, and I should know this. Jean-Paul something. Anyways, the story is that Breguet saved his life one night, and then the guy returned a favor by helping Breguet get his family out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll figure out his name for next show.
Right. Yep. So that's that watch. Beautiful Speake-Marin.
Beautiful Speake-Marin. If you're interested in that watch, give Tim a call.
Okay.
All of his contact information will be in the show notes.
The next piece, again, well, no, we haven't seen this one.
No.
It's, right here. It's one of these. So this is a watch. Again, I sold it brand new. I got it back from the original owner, and it's in remarkable condition. It's probably close to 20 years old, this watch, as I think about it. Maybe not quite.
Really?
It's probably 18 years old.
Wow, in perfect shape.
And looking at it, it probably could use a little bit of a cleaning with it. But
what's a good rag to use on that? What's a good type of cleaning?
Microfiber, but with this bezel, and getting in here behind the rivets.
Can't be easy.
Well, basically, what I need to do is I need to take the strap off. It's a spring bar.
Got it.
Get a soft, very very soft toothbrush, and just give it a good cleaning. Would help get that dust out of there. It's dust. Maybe it looks worse than it really is. But this is the Vianney Halter Classic, red gold. 115 of these were made over the course of about.
Why 115? That's just the number that's.
Yes, that's how many he made. He made 250 all told of the classic. This is the original classic. The image that you have behind us when we're talking shows this watch or one of these watches. Plus, it shows a newer version of the classic, which is a different watch. It's an updated, different movement. This is rose gold. I say there's 115 in rose, there's 101 in white gold, and 34 in yellow gold.
And the hour chapter ring is...
That's all hand engraved. That's,
okay.
Yeah.
And that's German steel or...
No, I believe it's brass and it's rhodium plated. It's not precious metal. In the Antica Perpetual, they are precious metal dials.
Okay. And the decoration in the middle?
But it's hand engraved. That's frosting. That's all done by hand. And then once the engraving is done, it's filled in with a black lacquer for the name and the numbers. Very
the hands are blued as well.
Yeah, you can actually, here you can get a bit better with the lighting.
Right there.
Yeah, there's
Very
really
nice.
beautiful blued steel hands.
And again, look at the way the colors change as the light changes. It's one of the great things about watchmaking is the...
So the lugs, these sort of T-bar lugs, they're attached to this.
And the classic halter DNA with the...
And there's a rivet right there on the end of the lug
Mm-hmm.
in white gold. But the level, that bevel around the edge, I mean, this is a good picture, but if I get the pointer in here, right along that edge, that's anglage, if you will, done at an angle.
Oh,
45
my goodness.
degrees, right there.
Yeah, look
It's
at that.
reflecting dark right there. And then you've got brushed circular, graining on the edge of the vertical edge, and you've got a bevel right there, and then you've got graining on the top. And then the rest of the case here is high polished.
So, and Vianney does all the work, or...
Yeah. Well, he and his very small team in his workshop do all that. And this is called habillage, Habillage.
The little bumps?
No, so I'm talking, habillage is a French name for this is the exterior finishing of a watch.
Okay.
So when it comes to the exterior finishing casework, typically, the French word is habillage. And to my mind, Vianney's habillage is the best in the business, bar none. I mean, you start looking at the details. That crown, those rivets are individually placed from the inside, because they're white gold, the crown is rose gold, and then that white gold tube is pushed inside that tube to hold those rivets in place. It's just really cool.
Wow.
And then...
What's his... Go ahead, and you can put that up there, but just a couple questions about him.
Yeah.
What is his history? Did he just decide
Vianney-
he's going to be a watchmaker one day? Or?
Yeah, he was always interested in engineering.
Okay.
Grew up in Paris. He went to watchmaking school, I believe, in France first. He was friendly with F.P. Jean, Francois Paul, and when he moved to Switzerland, he started working with him, and they actually created a small company. I forget the name of it, Techniques something Horology, THA, I believe.
Before Jorn became Jorn.
Yeah. And they did it. They developed a couple of movements. They developed a mono pusher chronograph that Ulysse Nardin used, Cartier used, and it's a lovely column wheel chronograph that Francois Paul and Vianney co-developed.
And just a single pusher at one to start and stop and reset?
It's a coaxial, so it's a pusher with the crown, within the crown.
Oh, so it's a crown operated system.
So it's a mono pusher, crown operated.
Wow, that's kind of way ahead of
that's cool.
the curve there.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we looking at here? This is fantastic.
So this, and here on the back, and again, I did talk about this, but this is the mystery rotor, if people remember. So as I'm moving the watch, the outside rim where it says classic and his name, Vianney Halter, turns. It looks like a peripheral rotor. It is not a peripheral rotor. It's a mystery rotor, and he actually patented it. So the outside rim, if you will, where it says classic, so this part around the outside is attached to the center pinion right here, and it's attached by a piece of sapphire crystal. You can't see it because it has the same refractive index as the sapphire crystal that covers the watch, the back of the watch, which in reflected light you can sort of see it.
So you call it a mystery.
It's called a mystery rotor, yeah, because you can't see how it's attached to the middle.
So it's actually a very
it's cool.
It's a Jaja LeCoultre move, because they also have the mystery dial, where it's a piece of anti-reflective sapphire with the hands painted.
Yeah, in a way, yes, it's a similar concept. But this is for the winding system, so
which
you
is
can
incredible.
actually see the movement. As an automatic watch, normally you have
a
rotor
big
that
rotor in front
covers
of it.
half of the watch, the movement. Again, beautiful finishing. There's classic Geneva stripes. There's anglage around the bevels of those bridges around here, all around the edges. It's just it's a lovely piece.
It is fantastic. He's a really interesting guy.
Yeah, brilliant watchmaker. This is his most simple time-only watch.
I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about what really got you was the perpetual calendar, the steampunky.
Yep, 4 different dials.
Three different dials. Yeah.
4, yeah. That was the first. That's what got got him on my radar. And that watch was back then it was a fairly expensive watch. So it was 125,000.
Yo.
Yep. Which is a lot of money. I mean, we're talking 25 years ago now. That was a lot of money for
Yo.
this watch. and it required a serious understanding of mechanical watches and an appreciation for his style, because it's quite a polarizing design. Not everybody likes it.
No, and but it's one of those things where people who know.
Yeah.
To me, does that, just a quick question, does that perpetual calendar also have the mystery rotor on the back? Or
Yep, it does. And the movement is a little bit more interesting in that the bridge it's the same basic movement. It's a Lemania 8810, I believe, originally. So it's a twin barrel movement. In the Antica Perpetual, interestingly, the bridges are solid. So all you have is a little opening for the balance wheel, and the rest of it is all Geneva stripes. And there's two bridges on the back, and they are so close together, you need magnification to see, the little line that runs down. And it's parallel to one of the Geneva stripes. It's very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those two watches are available. So again, I'll put the information in the show notes. Let's talk about
yes,
McGonigle.
Yeah. And again, I think we talked about him.
We did see the watch.
But I don't think we talked about this, because I brought mine, which is actually sitting right behind, just to the left. I remember this picture. I had both.
Oh, you're double wristing it here. Yeah, I can see the crown.
Yeah. So this is the original Tusker, developed by John and Stephen McGonigle, and it was a remarkable watch in that their very first watch was a tourbillon, exquisite. But the movement was based on a Christophe Claret Eboche, the engineering of it. This watch is their movement from scratch. There's nothing in this watch that is found anywhere else on any other watch.
Even a hairspring?
The hairspring, so the hairspring they didn't make. They buy hairspring
Niverox or whoever.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Yeah. But all the bridges, the jewels, the screws, the pinions, the hands, everything, the case is all done, is their own design.
So those of you checking us out, understand this is incredibly difficult to build your own in-house movement when you've got 3 people working with you, maybe 4.
If that. But you have to understand, you have to have engineering skills, and you also have to have the aesthetic, which is, I keep going on about this, but to me, that's really the interesting part about these individual artisanal watchmakers, is that they have both sides of the brain, if you will.
And the disciplines that they must understand. They've
got,
like you said, engineers, watchmakers, metallurgists, mathematicians. Because, even this piece here, this incredible bridge, which I guess is where the name, because it looks like a tusk, to me anyways, just the tolerances necessary.
And that's titanium as well.
Well, there you go. So to get it to this polish is not an easy, because this is a very hard material. And again, just this aesthetic of watchmaking, I know we might get a little blurry, but just these screws are beveled properly. Every single aspect of the watch. And this is what I would call open work, not necessarily skeletal.
Right. So what's cool about this is you've actually got 2 mainsprings, one right there, and then one over here. So there's
it's double barrel.
2 barrels, yeah. So this watch will run for about 110 hours.
Holy mackerel.
And they wanted that, that could be overkill, but they wanted that length of power for accuracy as well. So
why did that? So is one barrel fully wound transferring its power to the other barrel? They're both wound independently.
Yeah.
So tell me why that adds to the timekeeping, having the...
Well, it's a more even transfer of power, and so that way the regulating organ, which is the balance wheel, has a more even power band, if you will.
Okay.
Throughout the length. So when it's fully wound, you typically have more torque in the watch, and as it gets unwound, you have less torque, so the timekeeping would go off. So this just evens it out. It gives a wider power band.
In terms of a spring being wound, we all know that when a spring is fully wound, as soon as it starts to unwind, the power changes. So I guess there's the
torque, and that's why you have certain watches have a mechanism, a chain fusee or a remontoire.
A remontoire, which I've always called a remontoire, at least from my musician standpoint. I call it like it's like a preamp.
Okay.
like our microphones are plugged into preamps, so they get conditioned before they even go
Into the main
and go live.
but,
Yeah.
yep.
So remontoire for you bass players, it's kind of like a conditioner or a preamp.
Got it.
I love a good remontoire.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. No, it's one of the high-end watchmaking mechanisms. It's very cool.
Let's talk.
Not easy to do.
Very difficult to do. Let's talk about this guy. This guy here.
Yeah. So another one of these Finnish master watchmakers. We've talked about Kari in the past. We've talked about Torsti Lane. This is Stepan Sarpaneva, and it ties in actually with the last watch, because in his early days when he was still living in Switzerland and working, he actually worked with Vianney, was responsible for helping him build a lot of his cool watches. Stepan is a fascinating guy, brilliant watchmaker in his own right. He comes from quite a famous Finnish family of artists, his uncle, his father.
But not watchmakers.
No, not watchmakers, but definitely artists and designers of cool things. So it's not surprising that his watches have a very strong design influence. He's also kind of known for the man in the moon. So he has a lot of watches that have a moon phase complication in it, and this is one of them. This is
that's him.
Yeah, that's sort of his face. So this is what's cool about this watch is it has various different colored superluminova stars that rotate around the dial as the dial rotates. So you've got two moons. This is your classic 59 tooth moon phase, which is what many moon phases in many wristwatches they have. It's easier to have the gearing at 59 teeth. You can't have a half tooth in a wristwatch. So
not for a moon phase.
Well, and the moon phase is about 28 and a bit days, 28 and a half days. So 2 times 28 and a half is 59. So these are accurate to, I think it's within 144 years.
Yeah, so if you've done it right and you said it right, then you don't have to really, if you keep it running, then you don't have to really adjust it for like 140 some odd years.
Yeah, 144 years, yeah. Now, that's fine, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But on from here, there are some watchmakers, and Stepan is one of them. Andreas Strehler is another one who've figured out the math, it's just math, the gearing, to have even more highly accurate moon phases. Why you want to do that? Because you can. It's kind of, cool.
Well, we've talked about Andres, and he's absolute genius, and of course our good buddy Martin Braun is heavy into the
moon
astronomical complications,
sun,
moon.
He was one of the first.
Yeah, I mean, and this is what I love Stepan. I think he's an amazing artist and an amazing watchmaker. But this is what I call a cartoon moon. This is certainly not a photorealistic moon.
No, very different. This is,
But his casing is indicative of his work. We'll look at it.
So and this is the Corona case. Here's another one. This watch is called the Lunations, and actually this watch, because he collaborated with Andreas Strehler on this, this moon phase in this watch is accurate to within millions of years, if I remember correctly. It's a different system. So this has a disc. It's actually a disc with loom on the back, so that right now you're seeing the sort of the man in the moon depiction on a piece of I suppose it's the best description would be it's fiber optic. So it's transferring from behind the white disc, which you'll see the back of the watch in one of these images. So that white disc slides across the back to be a more accurate moon image, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense, and I love the fact that it's open worked.
Yeah, so you can see the mechanism on the front. There's the back. So you'll see again the two moon discs on the back, and they're showing right there. Yeah, so there's all the gearing on the back, and also a pointer, that blue pointer.
And the numbers around the bezel are the
actual days of
the moon phase.
Yeah.
So highly accurate. This one designed with Andres.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
And this is his Lunations movement. This was his first, full movement himself that he developed.
Is Strehler Finnish also?
No. He's Swiss.
He's Swiss. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is a really cool watch. It took a while to develop, and this one resides now, I believe, in Amsterdam with a very good client, a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
You can get this watch though.
yeah, these are available. They're basically built to order, so you can the color scheme, the amount of decoration on the front, you can determine that.
And a quick release strapping system.
Yeah. I think this is on a rubber strap, if I remember.
And he's the coolest guy.
Yeah,
And
very
plus,
cool.
he drives a Harley.
So his original watch that I fell in love with was the I can't remember the name, a Supernova, and the case was even more sculptural than this one, and that design of that, I don't think I have a picture here, comes from a cog from his Harley, and he just liked that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
he also did a watch called the Low East, which also had a similar case, very, very sculptural case. And those, that first watch I saw was like, wow, that's cool. He only made a handful of them, but the original watches, and they also had a moon phase on them. Now he's come out with a sort of reissue, if you will, of that case design with some new dial materials. Doesn't have a moon phase. Actually, sorry, it does. He has one with a moon phase, which is very cool. But this is a lunation.
I love the steampunky thing he's got going on, and
there's no other, to my mind, no other watchmaker that's making watches like this. You talk about DNA of watchmaker. His is very clear.
He's very clear.
Yeah.
He's a great. I mean, he's not just a great guy. He is a great fucking guy. Yeah. He is really great. If you have ever the chance to go to one of these shows, like the Basel Fair, which maybe isn't around for much longer, but some of the other shows.
Yeah, Geneva now. Yeah.
Geneva show. Seek out the independents. They are great guys. I'd rather see you as a watch collector. Speak with Tim. He'll hook you up with these people. There's a few of them I know. Mm-hmm. You really almost have to be introduced to them before they take you seriously. But this guy, he's a sweetheart. He really is a special dude. So
yeah, no, his watches have gained quite a recognition in the collector community. And again, it's like Vianney in a way. They're not for everybody, and he's used that tagline.
That they're not for everybody.
Yeah, no, because he suffers very few fools, as I would say.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a lot of patience for people that are being silly.
Yeah. But his watches, they're brilliant, and they certainly appeal to those that like it and get it. But it isn't for everybody, and he's fine with that.
No, listen. He wants somebody to have something that they're happy with. Yeah. So,
and gets what he's doing, and his appreciation for that. Are we staying in fairly close to Scandinavia, or are we going a little south?
We're going to go a little south, and we'll talk about these guys. Let me see what I got here.
So we've already talked about one of the, there are two sets of brothers in the independent watch world.
We got the
Irish brothers.
We got the McGoniglles, and then we've got these guys.
Grunefelds.
And these are two more great guys. Tell us about this one.
So Tim and Bart are the two watchmakers, two brothers. They come from a watchmaking family in Oldenzaal in eastern Holland or the Netherlands, quite close to the German border. This watch here, this is called the Parallax Tourbillon, and it's a remarkable, brilliant watch. And I managed to...
I think I have a video here, right?
Yeah, there's a video of it.
It's going to take it a sec. There it goes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just an exquisite watch. It's got a power reserve. It also, like its predecessor, which is the One Hurst, and we may well show that next.
Okay.
The crown, so that dial, this is not a good video. There we go. That dial next to the crown is an indicator of where what setting the crown is on. So you could have it on the setting, and you can have it on winding.
Oh, so that arc there.
Yeah, so it's on the
it's
W.
in winding mode now.
So you push, instead of, you push the crown in, depress the crown, and it flicks. That flicks between winding and setting. Yeah, so you can see it there. So when it's in the winding setting, you've got a power reserve on the left-hand side at around 10 o'clock. So you can see the how much it's wound. This one is fairly wound down. But you wind it, so it's a manual wind watch. And then if you want to set the time, which is in the small dial.
You push the crown again.
Push the crown. That indicator will flick to S for setting, and then you can set the hands.
So you don't actually pull the crown?
No, there's no pulling the crown. It doesn't pull.
It doesn't pull?
No. So that's the parallax tourbillon.
It's exquisite.
Yeah, fantastic. And then this was a predecessor to it. This is called the 1 Hertz.
Your favorite.
It's probably my favorite, of all the Gronefeld watches.
It also has the same,
so it has the same
set and winding
correct.
system.
Yep.
Okay.
And this has a big second hand. And why was this cool? Well, because it has 2 trains in this watch, a train for the seconds and a train for the time. And it's got a power reserve over there at 11 o'clock. So the small time, hours and minutes up at 12. And you have this big second hand. And the back of this watch, and I hope I have a...
Let's see if we have the picture. Nope, we don't.
Oh.
No, we don't have the picture of the back.
Top right.
Is that it? Hold on.
Top right in that. Yeah, he'll get there.
I'll get there.
Technical hitch.
There it is.
There it is. This is the back of the movement. So again, here you can see the 2 barrels. So with the mainsprings, and it's a little...
So here's a barrel.
Yeah.
And here's a barrel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And talk about this bridging. I mean, look at the bridges.
So these are actually stainless steel, and they're beautifully hand beveled. They're in the shape of a Dutch gable, which is what you find in the Dutch houses. It's very, very sort of traditional. They wanted to have that, but they're also made of stainless steel, which is interesting. Different material than most people use. Much harder. Requires many, many hours to do the bevel work on that watch. And I remember in Basel World, Bart and I were sitting there having a conversation, and he sketched out on a piece of paper kind of the concept of having the 2 barrels and the 2 different trains. He didn't tell me what it was going to look like, but he said, this is the watch we're working on. And this was their very first in-house movement watch, because again, their very first watch was I think it was called a GTM or GM06. It was a minute repeater tourbillon. So a highly complicated.
For their first watch.
Yeah. It was a lot of money as well, because it was a minute repeater tourbillon. Finished to the
And they made, what, 6 of them?
I don't even think they made 6.
They didn't get there.
I don't know if they ever made that many. I think, to my knowledge, they made 3 or 4 of them.
But that's a serious patron coming to them and saying, I want this.
Yeah. And
is it the same design tech as the parallax?
No, completely different.
Okay.
So this watch and so the 1 Hertz and then the subsequent watch, which was the parallax, were their movements developed, designed, nothing else like them. The minute repeater tourbillon was again kind of like the McGonigles are saying. It was a Christophe Claret Eboche that they started with, and then they developed the tourbillon for it. And so Bart and Tim, when they used to work, so they moved back to their native Holland, the Netherlands, the town that they grew up in. Their father was a watchmaker there. He looks after the town clock. And they will take that over as time goes on.
They're 3rd generation, aren't they?
I think they're at least 3rd, if not more. But when they were living and working in Switzerland, they worked at various different companies, but one of them was Renault and Papy, and their specialty was, one of them did minute repeaters and the other one did tourbillons.
So
that's why their first watch was a minute repeater tourbillon.
And working for Renault and Papy, which to me is like Audemars Piguet's Skunk Works.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the very, very high-end, complicated watchmaking comes out of R&Ps.
Yeah, extraordinary stuff.
You can go visit Audemars Piguet, but they won't let you go into Renault and Papy.
No.
It's
But you can visit. Tim and Bart are great guys. They're really fun. If you ever get to Holland, the Netherlands, I can help you get that set up and go and visit them.
They like to drink beer, my friends.
Yeah, they do.
And they drink out of, as Tim pointed out, they drink out of small glasses.
Yes.
This is even twice the size, I think.
I think it keeps the beer cold.
That's what they say. I don't know if it's true, but that's what they say.
Yeah.
Anyways, we've seen some cool stuff again today. If you liked anything that you saw that's not in Tim's personal collection, give Tim a call. He'll hook you up. If he's got it in stock, he'll really hook you up. If he doesn't have it in stock, he'll hook you up with the watchmaker. It's Tim Jackson from IndependentInTime.com. I'm Scott Goldman of Watch Geek Time. We thank you for joining us again.
Great to be here again. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, buddy. We'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.